It's Steve Wimble here. I was meant to have visited your church twice since lockdown started. And because we couldn't make that all work with all of the lockdown regulations, I chatted to Johan and decided that we would send a video through instead. And so I'd like to just speak for a couple of minutes in this video and a couple of minutes in tomorrow's video on how to become a better communicator. We've been doing a preaching series here in Hillcrest on how to develop better relationships. And one of the ways that we can develop better relationships all throughout our lives is to learn how to communicate more clearly. I don't know if you ever played this game when you were a child, using cups and string to make a telephone. I played it with my siblings, and you'd have one child around the corner of the house with a long string. They would speak into one end of the cup, and I don't know the exact physics of how voice travels through string, but the person on the other side would be able to hear kind of this muffled message. And then after the speaker had spoken a couple of sentences, you'd run around the house, find each other and say, "What did you hear?" And then see if you had a broken down telephone, a miscommunication, or whether you communicated clearly. If the message got through fine, all high five, that was great. But if it didn't, then you'd go back and try again. How many of you know that in real life, we've got invisible cups and an invisible string between any conversation we have with another human being? We've got a speaker, an encoder, the medium of communication, the decoder, and the listener. That's from the theory of communication. And so miscommunication happens easily. Good communication is complex. But I'd like to suggest 4 things that we can do to improve our communication. Whoopsie, nearly got tangled up on my telephone. Number 1 is don't presume that others know what you are thinking or feeling. Don't presume that others know what you are thinking or feeling. There's a story in the Bible in Joshua 22, where 2.5 tribes go back to their land on the west of the Jordan. The other 10.5 tribes stay this side, the east of the Jordan. And those guys, with no communication, build this big altar to God. Well, the guys on this side of the Jordan, they get really upset because they say, God told us don't build any other altars or images to sacrifice. We've only got to do it where He commanded. So they send out their army to deal with these guys. When they get there, they realize, well, wait a minute, those chaps explain, no, this was just a reminder to our children that we're all one nation to worship the same God. You see, if they had have spoken up early, there would have been no need for this army to go out and clarify things. But by not speaking up, it causes a miscommunication. In similar ways, in our lives, if we're expecting others just to read our body language or the look on our face to understand that we're stressed or tired or grumpy or whatever the case might be, that is a recipe for miscommunication. A commitment to good communication is a commitment to verbalizing what I'm thinking and feeling. Don't just presume others get it. The second suggestion I'd like to make, that to improve our communication, we need to clarify before attacking or withdrawing. You see, back to my story from Joshua 22, these 10.5 tribes on this side of the Jordan, they got their army together, but they did something really clever. Before just attacking and presuming what had happened, they sent a delegation to ask the question, what is up? What is happening? When they got the answer, they realized, guys, there's no problem here. We can all go home. Everything's good. But what many of us do is that we don't even wait sometimes for people to finish their sentences before we jump in. We presume this is what they've said, and this is how I'm going to react. I disagree with what they've said. I want to attack or defend, or sometimes I decide I'm going to withdraw completely. A great communication skill is to actually clarify by asking questions. You might say something like this. When you said that, did you mean ... Or I'm hearing you say ... X, Y, and Z. Is that what you meant? That gives them a chance to clarify and say, not exactly, this is what I meant. And by asking and clarifying, what I'm doing is I'm giving that person the respect to hear them. And when someone feels heard, they feel validated. When someone feels heard, they feel validated. So good communication for today is, number 1, don't presume that others know what you are thinking or feeling. Number 2, clarify before attacking or indeed withdrawing. I'll say the other 2 points tomorrow. I hope you have an amazing day. God bless.